My talk is entitled Flash Loans in 15 Minutes or Less because it's a lightning talk. How you too can save 15% or more on interest by switching to Ethereum. So, this topic is Flash Loans. Let's get started. So, the goal of this talk is leaving you feeling like you could do this. And what is this? Well, this is a screenshot of Etherscan. And this is a transaction I made like a year and a half ago or something where I took out a flash loan on Aave and then did some arbitrage on Uniswap and made a profit. This was all done on Covan's testnet, and the link to the Etherscan transaction is here. I'll save. I'll put the slides in the Slack after this talk is over. So what are flash loans? Well, if you've been asleep at the wheel and not paying attention to the industry, we can explain that really quickly. So they are a unique new smart contract primitive that only exist on blockchains. They are not possible in traditional finance. And basically what they are is you have this like lender and this borrower, and the lender is a smart contract and the borrower is also a smart contract. And so you can write your own smart contract that like takes out a loan from a lender, and returns the loan immediately. And how does it return it immediately? Well, in the program of the smart contract, when you call the function that you're calling in that transaction, it takes out the loan, and then in the same function returns the loan. And so this is basically enabling atomic loans. And I mean atomic in the term as it's used in the database literature, where we have like atomicity as you would expect from database guarantees, where you have this notion that a transaction either succeeds or fails. And if it succeeds, it's committed to the database, and that's the state of the database. And if it fails, it's basically rolled back and never happens. And so this has very nice trust properties, both for the lender and the borrower, because the lender basically doesn't have to worry about losing money or someone running away with their money. And the borrower is like, this is nice for the borrower because the borrower can potentially borrow up to like infinite amounts of money without ever having to post any collateral, because the lender is sort of assured that the money that they're lending is always going to be returned atomically before the transaction ends. So who cares? Like, I live in the normal traditional finance world and I don't care. Like, whatever. Well, shadowy, faceless groups of supercoders care. I don't know if anyone's been paying attention to the news recently, but Elizabeth Warren thinks that us super hackers are doing bad things, and we care about these things. But more seriously, there exists a variety of use cases for flash loans, where you can take out a flash loan and use it for something. Things like arbitrage, price manipulation attacks, where you would attack the price of what a decentralized exchange expects the price of a token to be. Arbitrage, where you might sell a token somewhere and buy it another place. Sandwich attacks, where you might buy a token and then or you might sandwich someone else buying tokens and try and extract a profit from them buying tokens. And also sort of collateral swaps, where you might say, well, I already have a position where I've taken out some loan, and I have some position already established where I owe someone money. So you can borrow money in a flash loan to close that position, open a new position somewhere else, and return the money in the flash loan all in one transaction. So it's like very convenient for that. And then a long tail of random stuff. Anytime you need money and you don't have it yourself, flash loans can be useful. And we actually have a hacking distributed blog post, discussing more of the sort of attacks and also some of the use cases for flash loans. Definitely check that out if you're interested in the topic. But I'm actually going to make the assertion that flash loans, even though they have a bad rap because they've been used in a variety of smart contract hacking incidents, because people who hack smart contracts want money to do the hacking with, I think they're good because they increase liquidity in blockchain systems overall. And, at worst, maybe they're a neutral agnostic technology, but anytime you increase liquidity in the system, in my opinion, that's generally a good thing. Like, the liquidity of money is a desirable property. And, maybe they can be used for bad things, but like here in the United States, we believe that people kill people, not guns. And so if you're European, maybe you should hate flash loans, but Americans should love them. That's a joke. So now on to the next thing. ICANN has flash loan now, please. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the talk. How do we actually do it? So there are a variety of flash loan lenders, and they compete with each other on things like interest rates, etc. We're going to talk about Aave today because they are arguably the most mature platform. Their docs are pretty good. Their documentation is pretty good, and I've used them in the past. So how do you take out a flash loan on Aave? Well, you read their documentation until your eyes bleed. And the documentation tells you how to do it, but I will explain how to do it in my own words from my own experience as well. So basically you have your account and you write a contract that you instantiate on the network, and you sort of, write some function for that. And then you send a transaction to the contract and call your function, which then calls the function on the lending pool contract, which does the lending, the lender, with a variety of properties, telling it that who you want it to call, what you want, like how much money you want and what kind of money you want, et cetera, et cetera. And it does a bunch of ERC20 transfers of tokens to your contract, and then calls a special function called the execute operation function on your contract, where you can do whatever you want with the money. And then all of that returns back to the flash loan function on the lending pool, which does the checks and makes sure you paid it and that it got the money back. And then eventually that returns to your first function, your function, and you're done. So that's basically how flash loans work at a high level. So I spent hours last night slaughtering a goat and preparing this talk. So hopefully this demo works. We're going to demo this with the last like 5-ish minutes I have for this talk. So we're going to do this live on air. So I have a very simple flash loan contract. I will obviously provide source code for this after the talk is over. It basically, it extends the sort of Aave flash loan receiver contract, and it has a function that allows you to fund the contract, give it some money so that it can make things happen. It has the like high level do the flash loan function, and this is as you can see it says I want wrapped ether, the wrapped ether token, and I want 10 finny, which is 0.01 ether. I want to borrow that much money, and so it goes to the lending pool and it does the flash loan. And then we have an execute operation function, which does nothing but basically brag about how rich the contract is. And for the sake of functionality and making sure everything works, and because I wanted to upload the source code to Etherscan beforehand, I've already sent the contract constructor function. So this is the contract. Here's the address. Here's the link. Blah blah blah. And live on air, we're just gonna fund it and run the borrow. So we're gonna send it 100 finny to sort of fund the contract, and we're gonna hit the fund button, and then MetaMask is going to pop up, and then we're going to hit confirm, and it's submitted the transaction. And that was, it's super fast because it's a test net and no one cares. So, give Etherscan a second to catch up, but the transaction's been confirmed and it worked. And here's the transaction hash. So, if Etherscan doesn't catch up, we can control T and then go to covan.etherscan.r and go TX and hit the transaction. And so this worked, and we have a log that's saying brag about how rich I am, and I'm zero rich. Oh, actually, that probably won't work. Bummer. I wrote this wrong. The bragging function probably won't work because it needs to brag about how much WETH it has, not how much wrapped ether it has, not how much ether it actually has. So the bragging function won't work, but we'll still see the flash loan work. So next, we're going to submit the flash loan function, and this is going to call the flash loan and do the actual flash loan, and we confirm. And we've submitted it to the network now, and we're waiting for it to transact. And oh, look, it confirmed. Great. So what's the transaction hash? Here's the hash. And we go to the transaction itself. and it's confirming. So give it a second for Etherscan to catch up, succeed, and you can see that we took out one wrapped Ether from the Aave thing, and we paid 0.03 Ether in interest, and returned everything back to Aave. And we took out a loan, and we have various logs and the brag. I need to fix this brag function, but we paid 9% interest on this principal of 10 finny. So that's all I had. Just wanted to give people a primer so that you can feel like you too could do flash loans. Thanks.